Hey, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Dr. Bjorn here. I just had a beautiful run in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and there was actually some snow on the ground up top on the ridge. We had a little storm here last night, and there was a couple sections where snow had accumulated, and kind of cool and weird to be running in Santa Cruz area in March in California and see some snow on the ground. And I see up here in the peaks around us, even above San Jose and other parts of the mountaintops around us in the Santa Cruz Mountains, there seems to be even visibly some snow-capped peaks, which is really cool. So as I was running, I was thinking about my journey so far, just reigniting my passion for fitness, for endurance, for running, for mountain biking, for just being in the mountains, being out on the trail for longer periods of time, and building stamina and endurance, not only in my lungs, in my heart, but also in my mind, and just how much I've appreciated that time in nature. And I watch a lot of podcasts. Anybody else really into podcasts right now? They're pretty cool. I love podcasts on YouTube or just on while I'm driving in the car on longer road trips and listening to various experts in their field talking just nonchalantly about life and what they're studying or what they've learned or things like that with their life experience. And one of the ones I was listening to, ironically, was with Matthew McConaughey, Mr. Lincoln commercial himself. And his latest book came out, and it's kind of about his, memoirs and his journaling that he's done over the years, and a closer look into some of the ways that he recorded his life happenings in the, times in his life when things were good and times in his life when things weren't good. And he went back and looked at his memoirs and his journals and was able to share a lot of what he had written in his new book. And he was mentioning in this podcast in particular something really resonated with me about he really valued looking back on times in his life when things, or he was maybe having a lot of success, or he was having maybe he was genuinely just really fulfilled and happy in his life, and he looked at different things that he was doing. He looked at, was he in love? Was he exercising? Was he getting out in nature? What was he eating? What was he thinking about? What kinds of people was he hanging out with? What kinds of thoughts was he having? What kinds of behaviors was he having? And I've been reflecting on that a lot in the last few months as I've reignited some of my fitness and well-being behaviors. Not only have I lost 20 pounds in the last few months, but I've been able to sustain much longer periods of time running and mountain biking and just being outdoors and still have energy left over to serve my patients and just to be overall more energetically capable and resourceful with sustainable energy. And that's a big part about what I love about what I do with Network Chiropractic, is helping people create sustainable energy in their lives through their nervous systems and their bodies for better life performance. So I was looking back on times in my life when maybe I've had success, whether that would have been athletic success or academic success or relationship success, or maybe times when my business was really thriving, or times when I was making a big shift in life or making a big transition. And I started to think about some of the behaviors that I was doing when times when I was totally in my own lane, staying focused on what I was doing, not necessarily worrying or thinking about too much about what other people were doing, but just being myself, doing the behaviors that I know were helpful to me and building momentum. And a few things stuck out at me that I wanted to share. And I wrote them down the other day, and I'd love to share them with you. And perhaps you can also reflect on some of the times in your life where you've had success, or where you've been maybe made some really big changes, or maybe had some big, really beautiful things happen in your life. Maybe it was a breakthrough, maybe it was a big shift in your relationship, maybe your business grew exponentially, maybe you're an entrepreneur or a self-employed professional, and you just had this big aha moment, and you looked back at what you were doing in your life behavior wise, and you realized there was a few things that maybe you were doing that were really helping you access more of that consciousness of abundance and success. Or maybe it was just the fact that you were really taking great care of yourself, and therefore the field, the universe, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, was taking care of you. And here are the few things that I had written down that I have done in the past in times of my life where I've had a lot of success. And I try and duplicate those things as much as I can. And they feel familiar to me because I've done them before. They're not always comfortable to do, but they help me stay engaged and on purpose and really focused with what I'm doing in life. So here they are. Number one, getting out in nature and adventure. And I use the word adventure because adventure to me is doing something new, exploring a new trail, going down a new route, whether it's running or mountain biking, fly fishing somewhere new, going camping somewhere new. Adventure as in maybe I have a plan, but it doesn't go my way, and I'm out in the wild, or I'm out in the backcountry, or I'm out on a run and I get lost. And there's some sort of adventure to the unknown. And when I find myself pushing myself into the unknown a little bit, I am able to reach places in my mind and my experience that really help me go past the point of the familiar. And so adventure has always been in my life since I was little. I grew up in the woods building forts with my siblings, and we usually wouldn't come back inside until it was dark. And it was a different time of life where you would just go play outside all day, and that's always stuck with me as adventure and nature. So that's number one. Number two is who I've surrounded myself with. Now, this one's really important. If you're looking around at your life going, okay, maybe I got a few people that are really on my team, who are in my corner, who want me to succeed, but maybe you got some other people in your life that are always telling you, nah, that sounds dumb, or oh, you can't do that. Or maybe they are your friends, maybe they're your family members, but you never really feel like they're totally in your corner or rooting for you, specifically for you to succeed. And when I look back at times in my life where I've had a lot of success, it's been when I've had a mentor or a coach or a buddy or a brother from a different mother or a sister from a different mother who's been there for me and who has been encouraging me, and I've been encouraging them, and it's been a reciprocal sort of relationship where there's been multiple check-ins a week, and probably accountability, and some really good exchanges and conversation in regards to just what we're struggling with or what we're working on, or celebrating each other's wins. Having people in your life who are on your team who want you to win, can't emphasize that enough. It may not be the person you want it to be. Be okay with that. Maybe it's somebody who is a longtime friend you've known forever, and maybe you talk to them once a week, or maybe you talk to them a couple times a month, and you just have like a 30-minute call and share your wins or your check-ins or your goals, that kind of thing. That's so important. I personally host a men's group at my office. We've been meeting once a month, either on Zoom or in person, outdoors or in the office, for almost 2 years now. And we always share things that are going well with us and things that are, hard. And we cross a lot of, different subjects with that. So that's number 2, is surround yourself with people who are going to support you, who are on your team, who want you to win. Number 3 is having a goal or a commitment and sticking to it. And for me, one of the ways that I know I'm not overwhelming myself with a goal or something that I want to do, like an intention, is I just give myself 30 days to try it on. And I have a little saying in the office with my practice members, and that I've noticed in my own life, is positive behaviors are contagious. So when you have one positive behavior, it is most likely to attract other positive behaviors in your life. For example, maybe you start off the morning with, maybe you've only done like water and coffee and like grab a bar and go, but maybe you start adding in like a green drink, or having an actual breakfast like yogurt and granola, or a couple eggs, or maybe you're a vegetarian and you have just like some fruit and a green drink or something like that. But having one behavior that starts to build, and you do that repetitively, like for 30 days, and then you start to notice how other behaviors are easily attracted to that. For instance, when you have more energy, you start to want to do more stuff, and that might include more stretching, or getting out and just taking a break from your screen if you work at a computer or a screen all day. Having more behaviors starting to cycle through that are positive, and pausing to acknowledge that, is really cool. So positive behaviors attract other positive behaviors. Positive behaviors are contagious, and that includes when you hang out with other people who are doing positive things in their life for their health and their well-being, or they're telling you about this thing they're doing, whether it's like some new keto diet, or maybe they're walking with their friend 3 days a week and they're really enjoying exploring new parks in the area or something like that. Listen to that, celebrate with them, feel that in yourself, and go, wow, maybe that might be something that I want to do too. And a lot of times, positive behaviors rub off on me a lot because I lead with behavior in my life. So when I hear of somebody, or I watch somebody do something that's really cool, like watching somebody surf, or watching another mountain biker in a video, or out on the trails, and I see them do something really creative or beautiful, or like really fast, or just something that is remarkable in a human body, it makes me want to go do that. And so whether that's somebody sharing it with you, or whether you're watching that behavior, enjoy those moments where you go, oh, I could do that too, and try it out. It might really work and fit for you and where you're at right now. So that's number 3. Positive behaviors attract other positive behaviors. Positive behaviors are contagious. And the 4th one, lastly, is take a risk. Why is this one number 4, and why is it so important? I've looked back at times in my life when I've made a big leap, like either in sports, or in endurance, or in my business, or in my ability to serve people. For example, when I first started off in practice, working 3 days a week was exhausting for me in my first year of practice. I had no idea what I was doing as a business owner. I was just, learning as I go, and being with people on an emotional and mental and physical level with touch as a practitioner requires a lot of focus and presence and attention, and it requires a lot of self-care in ourselves to be able to be with people with presence. And so my capacity to be with people has expanded dramatically since I started in practice over 10 years ago. I'm in my 2nd decade of practice now, and what I'm realizing is that every time I've taken a risk, whether that be signing up for a coaching program, or doing something in my life like signing up for a race or an event that seems really far out there, but pushing myself to be able to do it, has been really good for me to have something to look forward to. And another way we take risks in life is we do something that feels uncomfortable. So often we stay safe and comfortable because it's cozy. And of course, I'm going to reference another podcast. I watch a lot of podcasts about ultra endurance athletes and other remarkable human beings who are doing really cool things at elevation, or whether that's climbing or mountain biking or running. And I love how they always say that nothing extraordinary, nothing great ever happens from staying safe and comfortable. Now, being safe and comfortable is super important for finding stability in our lives, or finding moments of healing where we need to just settle and be in our body and rekindle a little bit of grace or trust or safety after trauma or when we're feeling overwhelmed. Those moments are important. When we start to ascend beyond that, beyond stability, we need some risk in our lives, because risk helps us take action on things that we haven't done in a while, and it also helps us do something new. And for an example, a lot of our practice members who start off in care at our office at Network Chiropractic Wellness Center, sometimes for them, starting care is a risk. It's something they've never done before. They have no idea what their body's going to be feeling. Maybe after a couple visits, they start to notice they have some emotional release, or they feel less stressed in their body. Maybe they start to notice they're all of a sudden just wanting to go out for a jog, or wanting to walk a little longer, or wanting to connect with people more. And all those things that we start to feel in our body, that passion or that energy building and resourcefulness in our body, is there for a reason as fuel, so we can start to take action. And a risk for some people might be going out to a new grocery store that they haven't been to in over a year, because they've been maybe getting their groceries delivered. For someone else, a risk right now in 2021 might be signing up for an actual seminar or a conference or an event or something that they can go to with other people, because they haven't been to an event with other people in over a year. And there are more events being scheduled, socially distanced events that are taking on less people, less attendees, but a lot of events are starting to be scheduled and are happening. And a lot of people are getting excited about that, because we're starting to move towards more community again. And risk is really cool, because when we start to take little moments of risk, we start to stretch ourselves, and we need to have a little emotion in our being, a little accessible emotion as fuel, to be able to take a risk, to step forward towards something, to stretch towards something new. And I'll share an example of a risk that I'm taking in my life. I signed up for my first 50K ultra endurance run coming up in a couple months, and I've been training for that since, well, I guess my whole life, but more recently I've been training for it in the last few months, and starting to get more in depth with my training, with not only my diet, but also with just more length and runs, and looking forward to challenging myself, and looking forward to pushing myself mentally and physically and emotionally in a race where I can start to it's not a speed race, it's an endurance race, right? So it's something that's going to last all day, and then be out there all day, and it's a risk I'm taking. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to give it a shot, and that's pretty cool. So comment below what risk you feel like you may be ready to take this year, or if what I shared about those 4 things in regards to looking back on successful moments, reminiscing maybe on sections or years or months in your life where you've had a lot of success, whether that would have been physically, health-wise, maybe it was in your marriage or your relationship, maybe it was in your business, maybe it was in just your parenting strategies. What were you doing for yourself in your life that was a behavior or a moment that you felt like was multiplied into an actual lifestyle where things just flowed and it was easy? And that's what I always look for I wouldn't call this number 5, but all 4 of those things I just shared help me feel like I'm in the flow. And when I'm in the flow, it feels like there's a little bit of challenge, like enough for me to stay engaged where I'm totally in the moment and I'm not thinking about other stuff to come. And it also feels like it's not super hard and like I don't have energy. And it feels like I'm more on purpose. So definitely go back, listen to these 4 things if you need to remember what to think about or write down from your own life. But it's fun to go back, maybe pick a few different years where you've had some success, or looking back on times in your life when you were attracting a lot of cool people in your life. What were you doing? What were you doing during that time? What were you eating? What were you thinking about? Who were you hanging out with? What kind of music were you listening to? How much time a day were you spending on your Facebook news feed, or what kinds of people were you tuning into? What were you listening to? Who are you allowing to be yourself inspired by? What kind of relationship did you have with your spiritual life? Were you accessing more prayer, meditation? All these different behaviors or ways of connecting to our lives through our bodies, through our minds, through our hearts, help us build strategies for lifestyle success and ease and being in the flow. I hope this video was helpful. Just a few thoughts I had after a nice long run in the snow-capped peaks around the Santa Cruz Mountains. And I'm thinking of you and how amazing you are, and thank you for inspiring me to do what I do. I can't wait to get back in the office tomorrow and hang out with beautiful souls who are ready to get on the table and thrive and enjoy life. Talk to you soon.